All right, what are we doing today? Today I'm feeling quite tired, so we're going to do something really quick and simple, okay? So 3010, divide an array into subarrays with minimum cost 1. Okay, it's a very simple problem. There's only one little tiny consideration you need to make. And if you know the proper data structure to simply find the value, you can even do this in one line. Okay, so you're given an array of integers nums of length n. Okay, the cost of an array is the value of its first element. For example, the cost of 1, 2, 3 is 1. Why? Because the first element is 1. While the cost of 3, 4, 1 is 3 because the first element is 3. So if you have x here and whatever you have going on for the rest of the array, it doesn't matter. All these values are irrelevant. The cost of this array is x because the first value in this array is x, okay? So that's something to note. Right, regardless if it's right, the cost is just the first value. All right, you need to divide nums into 3 disjoint continuous subarrays, right? So you're basically gonna split it into a set of 3. So you're gonna split it twice, right? You're gonna chop this thing up twice, right? So you're gonna take 1, 2, 3, 12, for example. And what you're going to do is you're going to split it twice to make 3 pieces, right? If you have something that's like this and you split it twice, you get the piece on the left, the piece in between the 2 splits, and the piece on the right, okay? So if you have 1, 2, 3, 10, how could you split this thing? Well, if I split nums twice, if I split it here, 2, 3, 12, and then if I split it again, don't know why I wrote nums there, and if I split it again here, 3, 12, you'll notice that I've split it twice, right? I split it between 1 and 2, and I split it between 2 and 3, and I got this array, 1, 2, 3, 12. If I add up the costs of each of these, well, the cost of the first one is 1. The cost of the second one, well, the first element is 2. The cost of the third one, the first element is 3. So the answer is 6. Voila. All right, same here, 5, 4, 3. Well, you can only split it here and here, so you get the sum of this. So 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 4 is 12. How about here? Well, if you split it here, you get 1 with value 1, and you split it here, you get 1 with value 1. So that'd be 10, 11, 12. All right, 10, 3, 1. Split it again to get 10, 3, 1, and 1. 10, 3, 1, and 1. Answer is 12. Okay, so all you really need to do here is we want to make the value minimized, right? So we should find the values that minimize the splits. Well, what is the cost of the what is the value of each split? What's the cost? And what's the cost? That's just the first value in the subarray, right? So what we should do is we should take the minimum values within this array, right, and split at that point, because that'll force that value to be the first element, and that's the only thing we consider for the cost, right? So if I have, if I have an array like this, and I'm just going to say big values and small values, right? So if I have a big value and a big value and a big value and a big value and a small value and a big value and a big value and a big value and a small value and a big value and a big value and a big value and a big value and a whatever, like this, well, where should I split? Well, I have a small value here, so I should split there. And I have another small value here, so I split there, right? So I should always just find the smallest values and split at that point, right? Find the 2 smallest values and split. Like if this is small and this is small, but it's not as small, where should I split here or should I split here? Well, let's imagine that this little s is smaller than this big S. Well, obviously I want to make the value as small as possible, so I should split at the smallest point. Okay, so all I really need to do is find the smallest values and split at that point. Okay, now the one thing you have to come to terms with, which is the only kind of little tricky part of this problem, is, well, this first value is always going to be a part of the solution, right? Because no matter where I split, the first value will always be the cost of the first subarray, right? It doesn't matter if I split here or here or here. It doesn't matter where I split in this system. 1 will always be counted in my solution. Same with this 10, 3, 1, 1, right? No matter where I split, 10 will always be a part of my solution. So what I'm really doing is I'm going to say, and I think 10, 3, 1 is a good problem to look at, is, well, I'm looking at this, right? Well, I'm always going to have to add 10 to my solution. And then it's about finding the 2 smallest values. So I'll split at those points, right? So split here and split here. So that's 1 plus 1 equals 12. Okay, so then the answer is really then just return the value of the first thing, because there's nothing I can do about that, right? That first value is always going to be the cost of the first subarray, no matter where I split. And then I just need the two smallest things. Now, I could run through this array starting at 1 and figure out what the two smallest things are, or I can just take advantage of a library that does that for you. So I can do the n smallest. What are the smallest values I'm looking for? Well, I'm looking for two split points that correspond to two values, so the two smallest values. And from what? I could say from nums, but the thing is I don't want to account for this value as being one of the smallest, right? Because I can't split here twice, right? So it's the smallest things of what's remaining. Okay, so that'd be nums excluding that first element. And we run with it. Boom. It's wrong. Return nums. Oh, sum of this, right? Because those are the two values that are going to end up being the costs, right? So when I had 10, 3, 1, 1, well, I had 10 and then plus 1 for these two split point costs that I'm going to get. Boom. Okay. So what is the runtime and space-time? What is the run and space complexity? Runtime and space complexity of this problem. Let's say n is the length of nums. All right. We're going to, for time and for space. Let's do space first. Notice I don't make any variables here, and all this heap q does is it makes a heap of size 2, and then it pops and pushes to that heap of size 2, but it never grows larger than size 2. Look at the implementation as the heaps. They're very interesting. But basically, this heap's never going to grow past size 2. It basically makes this heap of size 2, and it keeps it at size 2 by pushing and popping, and at the end, it'll have two small things as a result. So for space, we do a constant call, and we make a heap of size 2 independent. If there's 1,000,000 elements, if there's 2 elements, if there's 100 elements, the heap is always size 2. So that's constant space. And then for time, well, I have to get this first value, and then I need to research to determine, okay, what are the two smallest values? So I have to look at all of the values to determine which the two smallest are, right? There's no other way of doing it, right? If you want to find who has the most money in a group of people, well, you're going to have to ask all the people, right? There's no way around that. When you do comparisons, you have to look at everything to determine what is the largest, what is the smallest, what is whatever, right? So we have to look at everybody to find the two smallest. So I look at everybody, and the way that the heap works is really it's 2 log 2 time, or it's log 2 time each operation, but that's constant, right, with respect to the input. You can just look at this and, sometimes using libraries or using kind of special functions can complicate the solution only in terms of your analysis, right? Because you're looking at this and you're saying, wait, what's the runtime of this? What's the space of this? I don't know how this works. Versus definitely if we just ran through and did like find the two maximums by doing two kind of like catching pointers, like, all right, this is the max, this is the second max. Is this greater than the max? Is it greater than the second max? Or we could do that too, and it'd be easier to analyze. But if you understand the implementation of this, it's simpler. So, of course, it's more complicated if you don't know the implementation, but the idea here, I'm sorry, I'm rambling, is that this is constant time each operation, but we have to look through all of the elements, right? So we look at all n elements to find the two smallest and the constant operations for each one. So that's n linear time. So we look at all the elements basically just once. Okay. I hope everybody has a beautiful rest of your day. Goodbye.